For years, Discovery have been encouraging everyone to make your world bigger. And that is exactly what I'm now doing. And then also, of course, you had to be able to serve ice cream before and after the event, and that was really the nub of the problem.
It was the chemistry between its two hosts, dealer Mike Brewer and mechanic Edd China. Together, they created magic with Wheeler Dealers by showing the entire process of buying, restoring, and selling cars, while educating their audience along the way. But in 2017, that dynamic duo came to an unexpected end when Edd China announced his sudden departure, sending shockwaves through the fan base. Did Edd really leave because of a disagreement with the show? Or was it a clash of personalities? Or maybe something deeper behind the scenes? And how did Mike thought about his departure? When Wheeler Dealers debuted in 2003, it brought something unique to automotive television. A focus on the full restoration process, from the initial purchase of a vehicle to its final sale. At the heart of the show was a balance of two distinct roles. Mike Brewer, the savvy car dealer, would hunt for bargains, negotiating the best deal possible for worn-out classics. On the other hand, Edd China, the talented mechanic, would bring those vehicles back to life through in-depth repairs and restorations. What set Wheeler Dealers apart was Edd's ability to break down complex mechanical work into simple steps, captivating audiences with his technical expertise. Fans appreciated how Edd's methods were practical, clear, and replicable for car enthusiasts who wanted to try similar repairs at home. This depth of knowledge not only became a hallmark of the show, but also one of its biggest draws. Critics and fans alike praised the synergy between Edd and Mike. Despite their different personalities, Mike's lively, business-first approach and Edd's calm, methodical demeanor, they complemented each other in a way that felt natural and relatable. This chemistry helped the show gain a loyal fan base as it expanded from the UK to an international audience. By 2013, Wheeler Dealers had reached new heights after moving its production to the United States. This shift allowed the show to showcase a new variety of cars, exploring America's rich automotive culture. The relocation also introduced the show to a broader global audience, cementing its place as one of the most beloved car restoration TV programs. However, as the show's popularity grew, so did the demands of production. Behind the scenes, cracks in the dynamic would begin to appear, cracks that, for many fans, became painfully visible in the years to follow. As Wheeler Dealers rose in popularity, the transition to an international production and the demands of filming under a larger network began to strain the show's original formula. Fans noticed subtle changes in later seasons, such as shortened repair sequences and an increased emphasis on entertainment over in-depth mechanics. But the real tension came to light in 2017, when Edd China publicly announced his departure from the show. In a YouTube video addressing his exit, Edd revealed that the decision wasn't his first choice, but rather a response to creative differences with the network, Velocity, which was later renamed to Motor Trend. According to Edd, the network pushed for significant changes that would reduce the time and effort spent showing detailed mechanical work that he believed was central to the show's identity. He explained that the new direction diminished the quality of the work, and wouldn't allow him to maintain the standard fans had come to expect from his restorations. Edd's departure marked a turning point in the show's dynamic. While Mike Brewer remained with the show, the split sparked widespread fan backlash, with many accusing the network of prioritizing cost-cutting over content quality. The controversy even extended to Mike, who later admitted that he and his family received death threats following Edd's announcement, a grim sign of how passionate fans had become about the show. The changes behind the scenes also highlighted larger industry pressures. As production budgets tightened and demands for faster turnarounds increased, shows like Wheeler Dealers faced challenges in balancing authenticity with efficiency. For Edd China, these compromises were too much to accept, leading to his difficult decision to walk away from the series. While the network defended its actions by claiming the changes were necessary to modernize and streamline the show, fans remained divided. Edd's departure wasn't just the loss of a co-host. It symbolized a shift in the show's identity, one that many believed couldn't be recaptured with a replacement. Edd China's departure from Wheeler Dealers sent shockwaves through the fanbase and left a significant void in the series. Many fans voiced their disappointment and blamed the network for what they saw as the dilution of the show's core values. On social media, the backlash was immediate, with longtime viewers expressing that the detailed technical explanations Edd had provided were what set the show apart from other automotive programming. Mike Brewer consistently defended the show following Edd's exit, stating that while he respected Edd's decision, the program needed to adapt to survive. However, he revealed in an interview with The Sun that the fallout came at a personal cost. Mike explained that he and his family endured death threats and abuse online, with some fans placing the blame for Edd's departure solely on his shoulders. He said, "I had to get the police involved because someone threatened to come round and murder me. It was that bad. My daughter was targeted too." This reaction highlighted just how deeply attached fans were to the original format of the show. To move forward, the show introduced Ant Anstead as Edd's replacement. Ant, a former police officer turned car builder, brought his own skill set and experience to the series, aiming to fill the gap left by Edd. Despite his effort to bring credibility to the role, the response from fans was mixed. Some appreciated Ant's energy and approach, while others felt that the chemistry and dynamic between the hosts had been permanently altered. Moreover, fans criticized the new format of the show under the Motor Trend network, noting a continued reduction in repair sequences and technical depth. While the program kept its focus on showcasing interesting cars and deals, it was clear that significant changes had been made to align with the network's emphasis on efficiency and a more entertainment-driven style. For Edd, walking away from the show represented a stand for his creative integrity. But for Wheeler Dealers, it became a crossroads between the backlash, the darker side of fan loyalty, and structural changes to meet production demands. The series found itself redefining its identity after the departure of one of its most beloved figures. Following his departure, Edd China forged a new path that allowed him to maintain his creative independence while staying connected with his fans. In 2021, he launched his own YouTube series called Edd China's Workshop Diaries. The show allowed him to dive even deeper into technical projects without the constraints of network-imposed time limits. Here, Edd explores a range of mechanical challenges, including restoring unique vehicles, testing alternative technology, and revisiting projects he didn't have time for during his Wheeler Dealers days. For fans who felt the original show had lost its depth, Workshop Diaries became a welcome return to Edd's passion for transparency and education. Edd's new venture also highlighted his ongoing commitment to doing things his way. Focusing on niche projects and experimental engineering, he avoided the compromises he confronted while working on Wheeler Dealers. This direct connection to his fanbase ensured he could engage with car enthusiasts who had followed his journey from the start. Meanwhile, Mike Brewer continued as the face of Wheeler Dealers, a role he embraced while adapting to new co-hosts, first with Ant Anstead and later with Mark Elvis Priestley. The show maintained its popularity within certain circles, but many fans remarked that the chemistry of the early years was gone. Mike himself acknowledged in interviews that Edd's departure left a lasting impact, admitting that things were never quite the same after he left. Nevertheless, he stated that his goal was to keep the spirit of the show alive, albeit with a slightly different approach to appeal to a broader audience. Despite the changes, Wheeler Dealers still had its moments of success. The introduction of Ant Anstead brought a fresh perspective, and Mark Priestley later endeavored to bring a mix of technical expertise and personality, though comparisons to Edd persist among the fanbase. However, the ongoing critiques from those nostalgic for the original format underline that the show's legacy is now as much about its past as its present. As for Edd and Mike, their professional paths may have diverged, but the question of whether they might ever reunite, whether on-screen or for a special project, remains a hot topic among dedicated fans. For now, they both continue to navigate their respective careers, each representing a different interpretation of what Wheeler Dealers once stood for. Edd China's exit from Wheeler Dealers not only marked the end of an era, but also set a precedent for how creative differences can shape the trajectory of a beloved series. While tensions behind the scenes ultimately led to his departure, The impact of his technical expertise and educational approach remains a defining part of the show's legacy. His insistence on sticking to his principles made a lasting impression on the industry, particularly among viewers who valued authenticity over streamlined entertainment. Mike Brewer, on the other hand, has worked hard to keep the show alive and relevant in the ever-changing landscape of automotive television. However, the tension between maintaining the original spirit of the show and meeting the demands of modern production continues to define Wheeler Dealers. Although new co-hosts brought fresh perspectives, comparisons to Edd China never fully faded, with many fans nostalgic for the show's earlier format. One of the key takeaways from this period in the show's history is how much the bond between the hosts mattered to its success. As Brewer himself acknowledged during an interview with Drive Tribe, "It's tough to recreate the chemistry we had. Edd's style was unique, and that's hard to replicate." The enduring fan interest in Edd's work post-Wheeler Dealers, whether through his workshop diaries or automotive guest appearances, underscores the importance of personalities who are truly passionate about their craft. Meanwhile, Wheeler Dealers continues to experiment with its identity, balancing entertaining a global audience with addressing the expectations of longtime viewers. While its current format has drawn criticism for simplifying restorations, newer fans, unfamiliar with the original dynamic, see it as a lighthearted and accessible look at classic cars. Ultimately, the legacy of Edd and the show is a reminder of how impactful authenticity and genuine passion can be in any creative venture. Whether fans believe Wheeler Dealers lost its spark after Edd's departure or simply evolved in a new direction, its influence on automotive television is undeniable. The story of Mike Brewer and Edd China, one of camaraderie, creative differences, and eventual divergence, has left a mark not just on the show, but on those who followed their journey from the beginning.